Okay, so now for the prepping. And first of all, we have to remove these from the sprue itself. And for that, I recommend these tools. The instructions do actually recommend their own tool section somewhere, wherever that was. I think it was in here. Here we go. They recommend to use these tools in case you're interested. They recommend to use a razor saw, which I've never seen in my life. A piercing saw, which looks like a cheese saw. I'm not sure where you'd get that though. Super glue, painting handle, assembly stand. I find it very funny that, of course, this isn't meant for Titans, right? But I like how they assumed that a painting handle, for like Gretchen and shit, will be able to hold this. Because I do have one on hand, and they're not that big. Um, they also say tweezers, they say sculpting tools, knife, drill. I don't know why they say sculpting tools. I imagine because you are probably going to use green stuff or some kind of epoxy resin. So I think that's why they recommend that. I don't think it's for the actual resin cleaning up itself. Um, but yeah, they recommend a knife, a drill, which I have, a Dremel. It says drill, but the odd thing is the thing on the screen isn't actually a drill. It's a Dremel, so I don't know why they say drill. This is a Dremel. If anybody's interested, I can link the product down below if you want. I recommend buying, of course, German because I know it's a stereotype, but in my experience, do not buy Chinese like refine. Sorry, not refine. Do not buy Chinese precise engineering because it's not precise. Um, Chinese precise engineering is like German bad engineering. So German good engineering is like untouchable to Chinese engineering. And I'm not being racist there, it's just my personal experience of buying these products for nearly a decade now. This one's from a German brand I can link down below. I got it from my local shop. It might not be available online anymore. But yeah, the idea is for Dremel, in case you're wondering, they're all quite the same. I'll do a very quick rundown for you guys. You tighten this part or untighten it to basically take this out, add it back in again. Usually you will have several different sizes of Dremel hole. Um, and as you expand it and close it, if I can show you guys, there we go. You do this to expand the metal. You put the metal rod in, like so. Then you simply tighten it back up again. And by doing that, you are clenching this in place, almost like any other power drill you would use. The issue being, not issue, sorry, the difference being that with a Dremel, this piece here on the back is very loose deliberately. It's meant to be loose because you put it down here. Let's say I'm connected. Let's say my hands are wood, right? I'm connecting to wood here. Jump, it's stuck in, right? Now I can turn this if I was here, right? Hand here, turn, and I'm still pushing down because my ball of my hand here is holding this. So now I can turn it again, turn it again, turn it again. And that's why Dremels are really nice for this job because they allow very fine control with this piece here. That aside, that's the Dremel. First tool I'll be using today. Next tool is the clippers here, which I do have. Again, any clipper will work of any real brand, just a clipper. These are very cheap Chinese ones because although I say don't buy Chinese, I mean, this isn't precision engineering, it should be fine. I've used them for a while too. So clippers of any size there we go. Modeling files, these I found to be, I would be careful with these guys because I've got some really fat rip-offs with these before, so mine are rusty as fuck and they're like really old and they're still working fine for me. Some old crone in my shop said I needed to replace them every two like sessions. I've used these for probably 58 sessions now, and they're literally orange with rust, and they're still working fine. I mean, if you're allergic to rust, I guess it's an issue, but I'm not, so it's fine. These have taken me through some hard times. I've filed concrete with these before, and the wood, and it's been fine. These only cost me £2, not even on offer, so I would definitely recommend not buying any more expensive ones unless you really care about the quality. The term diminishing returns is very much applicable here because some modeling files, if they're labeled as modeling files, they can charge you a fuck ton. If they're labeled as just files, then they can't charge as much. So definitely get smaller, like not cheap brands. You don't want cheap metal, but definitely don't skimp out for like the massive price ones. They're not worth it in my opinion. But yeah, these are my modeling files. I recommend a spread of different shapes and sizes. So here you have a flat end, then there we go. Here you have a flat end, then a beveled end. That's my first one. Then I have most of these are flats, but you get some squares, you get some round ones too, like this, which are good for gun barrels and, smooth armor panels here. A lot of these are mostly the same for different shapes. They're really good. So that's the files done. Then we move on to the mold line remover. In my opinion, this is again a ripoff because if you bought the knife, if I show you really quickly here, any sort of cheapo Chinese brand knife like this, right? Scalpel, I mean, sorry. Scalpels will basically double up for your knife and your mold line remover in the same thing. So these are very, very redundant and they charge a lot. I'll put the price for Games Workshop's version or Citadel's version on screen now. It is very, very pricey. Same with the knife and the drill. You do not need to spend that much money. Just get a very cheap scalpel and it will be able to do both for you for a much better price. And yeah, so this is the scalpel, or the mold line remover as they like to call it for some reason. And lastly, the razor saw and the piercing saw. I don't know why you need two. Just get a hacksaw. It feels pointless to me. Again, a cheapo £5. It came with two of these things in it and spares, so I don't know why you would need both of a piercing saw and a razor saw. A hacksaw will do the same thing for both. I use this for my Titan, so I can tell you that even the cheap hacksaws will not break on resin and they will work fine. Because I've used them for massive resin chunks on my Titan, way thicker than what we're going to do today, and it's been fine. So do not skimp out. No, sorry, skimp out, I mean, sorry. Definitely be a cheapo cunt because you'll get a much better return for these things. So that's the hacksaw done. And yeah, that's about it so far. It does say to use tweezers and things and these painting handles, but this section here is more for assembly and touching up and painting. This section here is what I'm interested in because that's the prep stage. So moving this to one side and moving these to one side, let's begin with the actual prepping phase. So first of all, we're going to look at the Melta cannon piece here. And we can see here that there's like I said before, a resin gate here. And we're just going to take our hack. I mean, it depends. Sometimes you can use a clipper for these pieces if it'll fit around, like this one does here. This is a risky play because, again, you aren't as precise with these things. So for these sort of pieces, I do recommend a hacksaw. And before I start, I do need to make it very clear that I am right now not technically in my room. I'm in a studio, and I'm also wearing face coverings because resin dust is super, super fine, and it will stick to your lungs and ruin them. So definitely make sure that you are wearing the correct protection for this thing, and not in an indoor area. I am, but it's like a artsy indoor area, so it's a bit better. But another thing is, these fine pieces of resin do get stuck in model paint. So if you have a really nice model and you do this around that model, then that model will have white flicks of paint on it forever. You will not be able to remove it. So that's another issue. So yeah, let's begin. I'm just going to begin by sawing this piece off here. There we go. And I'll speed up this piece. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove all of the mold lines on these models on screen for you and speed them up. If you want to slow down at any point, you can do that. And if there's anything unique or interesting or particularly dangerous, I'll let you know as I go along. Okay, so this is the mold line stage. So this is the resin gates removal done. I would recommend to remove this dust that's left over. I would recommend, to remove this dust as quickly as possible, which I will do now. So give me a quick second, I'll be right back with you guys.